Okay, I have a question from Ryan. How do you induce trance with confusion? Okay, how can I be really clear about this? How do you induce hypnosis with confusion? Well, first of all, let's think about confusion. What is the nature of confusion? What is it? It's a state of not knowing. Not only is it a state of not knowing, it's a state of frustration. Not only is it a state of frustration, it's a state of compulsion, of wanting to know. So you have within confusion a not knowing, an uncertainty, the stress associated with not knowing, and a compulsion to find out. So in terms of motivation, you're really creating that motivation within the client when you use confusion. Of course, when you're using confusion in a therapy context, the client is listening consciously to you. When you start using confusion, they'll start listening to you more acutely consciously, because they're not getting the resolution themselves. They're looking to you to resolve the confusion, but you're not. You're continuing to be confusing. Okay, so where do they go? They're not getting the answer from you. There's only one other place they can go. They have to go inside to find out, deep inside, in the unconsciously, to find out what this is all about. How can they resolve this confusion they have? And so their frustration causes them to let go consciously, because they're not getting the answer they want, and go inside. Once they start going inside, they go in with a search, an inner search, to find the answer to the confusion that you've created in such a meaningful way. I don't mean confusing because you're sloppy and you don't know how to give suggestions, but confusion because you sang it in a very emphatic way that should be easy to understand. But no, they're not understanding it. They have to go inside before they just throw the towel in and say, no, I'm out of here. I don't know what you're doing. Hopefully they don't get to that point. But so they go inside. And because the confusion is all about going into trance in some way, then, because the context is trance, number one, remember they're sitting there with you. Secondly, because you're giving suggestions which are hypnotic as well, then they go with that, and that's how they understand the confusion. They let go of it. And then you then can give something very direct, like, and now just take a breath and go all the way down into a deep, deep, deep hypnotic state. Now, that's very direct, okay? But it's Ericksonian because we've done that after we've created the confusion. When you create confusion, you have frustration and in a search, and suddenly you have this very direct suggestion. It's the first thing they've heard that's concrete, they can hang on to. So they grab it with both hands, take a deep breath, they go, oh, thank goodness, almost, they don't just say it, but and they follow that suggestion because it's now a relief as they resolve their confusion. They've got something solid to grab hold of. So that's how you induce hypnosis with confusion. What can you use for confusion? Well, you need language, of course. We're doing things with language, but also we can do it non-verbally as well. You can point in one direction. Like if I point to the left and I say right to somebody, okay, I point to the left and say, would you like to sit right here? And I point to the left. For example, that's going to be confusing. Or if somebody's standing up and I push a chair forward, there's two chairs, push a chair forward, I point to the other one, which is not moving. That's confusion, as an example, okay. But we can also do it just with language. Take left and right, and this is kind of very classic in terms of Erickson. Right hand, think of the ambiguity you can create with language. Okay, my right hand, right now, can write. Okay, now that's not confusing. My right hand, but it's my left hand lifting, right? My right hand, I'm talking about my right hand. My right hand here can write right now. And it's right for you to be right with me as my right hand can lift or write or whatever. Okay. Now, if we mix things up, we point to the left hand and say, right now, your left hand is here, whilst your right hand is left all alone, going deeper into hypnosis by itself. So your left hand right now actually is not in hypnosis yet, but it's learning from the other hand that's left there right now, right there, that one, that's right, going deeper into hypnosis by itself. So you see, we play with language, and that way we can create some confusion, and then we can say, and now that right hand can just teach the left hand to go into trance. Or that right hand can be just so heavy, the harder you try to lift it, the more impossible it becomes. And the harder you try and lift it, the heavier it becomes, in the same way that your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So you give something very direct, create some confusion, follow it up with direct suggestions. Okay, Ryan, thank you very much.